Hey guys, welcome back for another yin practice. Today what we're going to be working towards is our shoulders and our hips. Now these two parts of the body hold a lot of tension, and especially in yin, where we're getting into that connective tissue, there can be a lot of sensation here. So if anything comes up for you throughout this practice, that is totally normal. Let it come. The reason these parts of our body hold so much tension is every message that gets sent from your brain to any part of your limbs has to travel through either your shoulder or your hip. So it's really common that these parts of the body get stuck, get tight. So with this practice, what we're trying to do is just release them, allow them to open up. Yeah, so how we do that, and especially with this practice of yin, it's all about letting go. Yeah, we don't want any muscular engagement. We want to let go as much as we can. Allow this connective tissue, this fascia, this ligament, this tendon to all just move gently. So we're going to start off in a comfortable seat. Close your eyes down. You can be sitting cross-legged, you can be sitting on a block, a bolster, a prop, a pillow. If you haven't got one, quickly grab one now. Just allow some length to come through the spine. Just watching the breath move in and out. Like our yang practice, we don't need to control the breath. We don't need to push it or force it, just let it come, let it rise and fall. Slowly start to drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And this may be enough sensation, but if you want a little bit more, start to gently walk the left fingertips towards the earth. Just inviting this gentle opening the left side of the neck. Last breath on this side. Gently back to center. Allow that length to come back into the spine and start to take it the other way. Left ear to left shoulder. Those right fingertips can move in the opposite direction. Move the fingers towards the earth. Taking them as far as they can go, just until that sensation arises. That's a good general rule for this whole yin practice. We're not trying to go to our full depth, we're just going to that first point of sensation. One last breath here. Slowly back to center. Start to blink open your eyes. We're moving towards our first posture. Start to bring your hips directly over your knees. This is important. Trying to create a high point. Here, coming into Anahatasana, melting heart pose, puppy pose. There's a lot of different names. We're bringing the arms out in front. Hips up high, allowing the chest and the heart to melt down towards the mat. Let your head come to the earth, to a pillow, to a bolster. Start to allow shoulders to open up underneath the arms, melt down towards the mat. Somebody who feels discomfort in your knees here, a little trick, and this is anytime your knees are on the mat, just double it over so there's a little more padding. sure that when you move to do something like that, it's really mindful. It's really slow and gentle. And once it's done, allow yourself to come back into the posture. Take a few more rounds of breath. Slowly start to shift the hips back over the heels. We're coming into a rounded over child's pose. So you can bring your forehead towards the pillow, towards the earth, towards any prop that you're using. But allow the backs of your hands to come to the earth, your shoulders to round over. Allow your torso to melt over your thigh. Things that come in when we open up the front line. When we round over, we're not closing over to stop things from coming in. We're closing over to give ourselves an opportunity to be with the sensation. Opportunity to let those things that have come in settle. One more breath. Slowly start to lift back up. Bring your feet out in front. Come into Sukhasana, fire log, box sit, whatever name you're familiar with. The left shin is going to come parallel to the front of the mat, far away from your hips. That right ankle is going to come either on top of the left knee, or the shin's going to come out in front. Make sure you're high up on the sitting bones. This may be enough for your outer hips. You may be feeling it already. Remember, we're just looking for that little bit of sensation. If you want more, you can start to gently fold forward. Again, the hips hold a lot of tension. So if you're feeling it here, that is totally normal. Just see if you can be with that sensation, as long as it's subtle. If it's too much, just start to bring yourself out of the posture really mindfully, really slowly. But if you feel like, you know what, I can be in this space, there's something I can grow from and learn from, just bring your attention back to the breath. Try and sit in the sensation. can let go a little bit more, let go a little bit more. What we're trying to do constantly through this yin practice is release tension. Release that need to control just the body, the breath. This is where these things that we start to learn on the mat can translate off. One more long, slow breath. Start to lift back up. Hands come behind you. Bring the soles of your feet out to about mat width apart. Start to let your knees knock in towards each other. Here in this constructive rest, we've just had external rotation through that fire log shape. Now we're inviting internal rotation into them. One of these movements may feel really comfortable for you, the other one maybe not. That's fine. Remember, we're all built differently. Everybody's skeleton is structured totally unique. There's no right or wrong. Last breath here. Start to take it to the other side. So if you had your left shin parallel with the front of the mat, now it's time for the right. The left ankle either on top or just in front. And again, we're going to that point where we feel sensation, so that maybe just sitting up straight, allowing the knees to gently move towards the earth. If you want more, it's comfortable for you to move forward. Start to gently hinge at the hips. Allow the chest to move towards the earth. Don't push it here, don't force it, just let it go. Sensation move in gently. One of the things we talk about a lot in yoga is this idea of non-attachment. And that doesn't necessarily mean in this yin practice of being non-attached to getting heaps of sensation out of it. Really what it's talking about is being non-attached to this idea of needing to control constantly. And this is an opportunity for us to let go and let these things that are more out of our control take over. Two anchors I always like to talk about in yin yoga are the breath, that fluid in and out, that's going to keep going. The other one is gravity. When we let go and let these forces that are beyond our control take over, that's when we get the most out of this practice. So if you can, try and release that tension. Just flow with the breath. Let gravity take over the body and let it pull you towards the ground. One last breath here. Gently begin to lift back up. Feet out and mat, distance apart, the knees fall in towards each other, bring your hands behind you. Don't feel like you need to force your knees all the way to touching each other, just allow them to gently roll in. Let your head fall back. Let go of that tension through the body. Really slowly start to lift the torso back up. Lay down on your belly. Start to take your left knee out towards the side. If you want more here, you can shift the right hip over. Then as you land in half frog, start to release down. Allow that left hip to open up. If you want less here, you can start to take the knee lower. If you want more sensation, you can bring it a little bit higher. Just make sure here you're not fighting against this posture. You want to let go as much as possible. Try and let go of whatever you're holding on to. Allow that left hip to melt towards the earth. slowly start to bring that leg back towards center. From here, start to take that left arm out towards the side. It can be bent or straight. Just make sure that the elbow is in line with the shoulder, and then start to gently roll off to the left side. Bend through your knees for a little more support. Opening up through that left shoulder. If you want a little more support, bring your bolster or your pillow underneath your chest. Just invite that opening into the left side of the heart space. Fight against this opening. Allow it to come naturally. Allow it to be subtle. Sink into it. One last breath here. Start to roll back to your belly, backs of your hands to the earth. Bring your chin or cheek to the mat. Allow your shoulders to round over. And take a moment to notice the sensation in the left side of your body compared to your right. Notice this opening. Notice it settle. It's your heart beating on the mat. Now we gently start to move to the other side. Start to bring that right knee out in line with the hip. If you want a little more, you can take it up higher. For less, start to move it low. You can also take the left hip away from the right knee. Once you find your depth, once you find your subtle sensations stable, start to settle into that stillness. Start to let it take over your whole body. pelvis become heavy. Melt down into the ground. One last long, slow breath. Start to bring the right leg back in line with the left. Start to take your right arm out in line with your right shoulder. Arm can be bent or straight. Bend your knees, use a bolster as support. But allow that opening to come in to the right side of the chest, that right heart space. Be subtle, be gentle. Every time you feel your mind start to carry you away, bring yourself back. That gentle, slow, subtle breath in and out. Or that feeling of gravity pulling you towards the earth. Just focus on something beyond your control. Move you softly. Open a little more mindfully. open a little more. And gently start to roll back to center. Take a moment with the backs of your hands to the earth, your shoulders rounded over. So let all of this sensation settle in your body. Ready. Start to roll onto your back. Now you have a few options to set up here. We're coming into Supta Baddha Konasana. One of them is taking a pillow or a bolster underneath your spine, so make sure it's up against your sacrum. Lay down, bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees fall out wide. Allow your spine to melt over your bolster or your pillow. Place your hands on your belly. If you want to open up even more, you can take them up overhead. No matter where you are. Again, give in to those things beyond your control. Let gravity take over. Allow this opening to come into the hips. Allow it to be as subtle or as strong as your body needs it to be. Don't force it. Don't push it. Trust that your body knows what's right. Trust that it knows what it needs. Yourself melting down over that bolster a little bit more. Try and do so. If you want a little less sensation through the hips, take the feet away from the torso. If you want a little more, bring them closer. Just make sure all of this is done with intention. It's done mindfully. It's done for a purpose. Start to remove any prop you have laid down on your back. Take a moment to let this sensation settle in. Gently start to hug your knees in towards your chest. Just a loving hug. Stay here as long as you need. When you're ready, gently start to allow the knees to fall over to the left side. Keep your shoulders heavy. Allow this rinsing out through the spine. Just make sure when you twist, when you're in this shape, to release, that it doesn't compromise the breath. If you feel like your legs need a little more support, bring your pillow or your prop underneath or in between your knees. As always, once you find that space that's right for you, that level of sensation that's going to serve you, let go of that control. Just be here. Be in the pose, be in the stillness. Can release a little bit more. Stay here for 2 more slow breaths. Gently moving back through center. Moving hard with the knees in. Slowly allow them to fall over to the right side. Again, for more support, take your prop in between the legs or underneath. Just start to let go of whatever tension you're holding on to. And this twisting, one of my favorite visuals is wringing out a spine. Twist as we let go, whatever's not serving us, whatever we're holding on to. And we bounce back, ready to receive whatever we need, whatever is going to serve us, whatever's going to help us. Go with every breath. Just one more final breath in this shape. And gently move back towards center. One last loving hug of the knee. Start to send them out long. If you want a little more support through your legs, bring a pillow or your bolster under your knee. Your arms down by your side. Go of whatever you are holding on to, whether that's the body, sensation, the breath, even your ideas about the practice, let it all go. You don't need it anymore. All that's left is the stillness. The space that we've created for your land. Start to feel your feet sinking down into the earth. Slowly your legs start to disappear. You know that they're still there. There's just no desire to move them, to control them. Just letting them reconnect with the earth. Next, your hands, your arms start to melt down. Down into the earth. Then your torso begins to sink down. And you know it's still there, but there's no need to control what's going on. Feel that heaviness, gravity pulling you down. Finally, all that's left to let go of is your head. Feel it sink down, feel it melt into the earth. Begin to reconnect. All of a sudden, you feel one with the ground, with the earth. The breath is moving itself. You don't need to hold on anymore. Just let it go and watch. Watch everything take care of itself. bring some awareness back to your breath. Allow the sound, the space that you're in, to re-enter. Start to take some small movements in your fingers and your toes. As that ripple of movement starts to turn into a wave, gently roll onto your left side. Keep your eyes closed. When you're ready, move towards a comfortable seat. Bring your hands to your heart. Take a gentle bow of your head, a moment to acknowledge not just your practice, but also that of everyone else. Doing not just this class, but any practice of yours. As always, I leave you with what Maharaji left Ram Das. Love everybody. Tell the truth. Namaste. Thank you so much, guys, again for joining us. As always, if you have any questions, any requests, even just want to chat, shoot us a message on social media or on the Open Door Yoga Community Facebook page. Thank you, guys. See you next time.